Welcome to the ANEW Body Insight Podcast, empowering and inspiring your journey to optimal health. Hosted by Dr. Supatra Tovar, clinical psychologist, registered dietitian, fitness expert, and author of Deprogrammed Diet Culture. Rethink your relationship with food, heal your mind, and live a diet-free life. And Chantal Donnelly, physical therapist and author of Settled, How to Find Calm in a Stress-Inducing World. We follow our guests' journey to optimal health, providing you with the keys to unlock your own wellness path. Tune in and evolve with us. Welcome back to the ANEW Body Insight Podcast. We are back for the second half of our interview with 40 Plus Fitness podcaster, author, and personal trainer, Allan Misner. Allan gave us some really invaluable insight into his road from unhealthy, I won't use the term he used, to health icon. We cannot wait to learn more. Welcome back, Allan.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
So we were talking about setbacks at the end of the first part of this episode. How do you help people redefine fitness goals, especially if they might feel discouraged or they might be in the middle of a setback? What do you tell them?
Well, one of the cores of any life change at all is self-awareness.
Yes.
And too often we think, okay, what works for everyone else should work for us. And if it isn't working for us, then we turn internally, sort of blame ourselves. Mm-hmm. This has got to be my fault because it works for everybody else, right?
Right.
And we're very short memory to know that, okay, well, the obesity rate in the United States is 50, 60% right now. So no, it's not working for everybody else, but that our brain seems to think that, okay, this works for everybody else. I'm the one with the problem. It's me. So we have to go through this journey of self-awareness to understand why our mindset is programmed to do the things that it does. Mm-hmm. And so one of the exercises that I have, and I pay attention to my clients and the words that they choose, because those words are powerful.
Yes.
And they tell me a lot.
So powerful.
And they tell me a lot about how they're looking at this problem. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and I have a quiz that I came up with to help other people kind of know what their primary mindset is.
Oh, cool. Let's hear it.
5 of them. I've identified 5 of them, and you'll probably hear yourself in multiple parts of this because even I look back at my journey, didn't know this was what I was doing, but I had 4 of the 5, and I had to do them in order because if I didn't do them in order, I wouldn't have been in the right place at the right time for the other one to be there and to work. Okay. So I'll start out with the one that I didn't really experience much of, and that was the pedals person. So a pedals person is a person who will see something interesting. Ooh, a new diet, a new thing, a new workout, something. And they press the gas and they get started. Mm-hmm. And they get about 2 or 3 weeks in and they're like, well, I'm not losing any weight. I'm not getting any stronger. I'm not getting any better. And so then they hit the brake. If you've ever been in a car and you're trying to drive it and you hit the brake, gas and the brake and the gas and the brake and the gas and the brake.
That's how my mom drives.
But you don't go very far and it's an uncomfortable ride. And so when you try something, if you know it's based on reasonable things. So we talked about whole food on the last episode. Yes. And so if you know that whole food is really a great way to look at this, you may choose that, okay, I'm going to follow more of the vegetarian or vegan, or I'm going to follow the Mediterranean style, or I'm going to try something else. Whatever it is, give it a real shot. So 8 weeks, 6-8 weeks, I'm not going to change anything. I know that I may lose a pound, gain a pound, lose 2 pounds, lose a pound, lose half a pound. When it's all said and done, I'm still losing weight. It's just not a straight line. So put your foot on the gas and keep it there. Every time you think it's not working, that it's sound. This is not the cabbage soup diet. This is
not the cabbage soup.
But this is reasonable. This is reasonable. This is the right thing. And I know I'm getting healthier. I might not see it on the outside. I might not see it on the scale, but I know I'm giving my body what it needs. Keep your foot on the gas. Okay. Yes. That's what someone who's a pedals person needs to do. They have to continually focus on pressing the gas and not the brake, despite not seeing the progress straight away. So that's a pedals person. I didn't really have that problem, but I had this next one. And this is the co-pilot. A lot of moms, caregivers have this. I had it because it was my career, my job, it was everything. And a co-pilot is someone who's worried about everyone else's stuff. This has to be right. That has to be done. That has to be done. End of the day, you got no energy, no nothing. You can't put anything in your own cup.
Yes.
Because you gave it all away.
Yep.
And you're going to wake up tomorrow.
I treat a lot of moms like that. And I tell them, you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first.
Right. And so that's the point. But here's the funny thing is that can also be turned into a superpower. Because the co-pilot person has people around them that rely on them, that care about them. They just have to ask for help. They have to ask for a little bit of grace.
Yes.
So a simple way this could work is, okay, you got a 45-minute workout that you want to do. And so you tell your husband or your wife, it's like, would you be willing to go ahead and get the kids ready for school, feed them breakfast, and then I'll take them. But I'm going to take that 45 minutes and I'm going to get my workout done.
Yes.
Okay. You'll be surprised when you tell them why you want to get in shape and it happens to be them. And then you want to do this. Will you help me? The change that it makes in their behavior to know that this is important to you and important to them, they're willing to help. It could be, could you get the kids in the bath, get them ready for bed? I'm going to go do my workout and then we'll meet up. We'll tuck them in, tell them a story, and then we'll have our time.
Right.
Okay. Just asking for help because you already have a support system around you. They want you to be successful because your success is their care. So if you feel like you have all this stuff that needs to get done, ask for permission. The way it worked with my business and work was I told my boss, I'm like, I'm going to take my lunch hour from 2 to 3. And then I'm going to go to the gym and work out. There's no one else in the gym but old retired people and some students. So I can get a workout done really quickly from 2 to 3. And I blocked it on my calendar. No one else could book that time. But I told my boss, this is what I'm going to do. Now, did he always remember and not bother me? No. Sometimes I'd get a call. He's like, I need you. I'm like, okay. And I'd go see him maybe if I was already there. If I was already at the gym, I'm like, I'm at the gym. Is this something you need before 4 o'clock? No. You'll have it by 4 o'clock. Cool. It was just about asking permission, asking for help and being willing to do that. And then they're on your side. One time my boss forgot. He called me right at like 2. I just changed clothes. So I'm walking through the C-suite in gym shorts and a t-shirt. He's like, what's this? It's like, remember I work out from 2 to 3. He's like, oh, okay. Here's what I need. Do you need it before 4 o'clock? No. You'll have it at 4 o'clock. Simple. Okay. A lot of people sit there and say, I got to go take off this clothes, go do the thing, skip the workout.
It's called having boundaries.
Boundaries and just asking.
Yes.
When they know, it's like, okay, this is what he's doing, why he's doing it. It'll make sense. Okay. The next one I dealt with was the windshield. And so the problem with the windshield person is they're actually looking in the rearview mirror. And this goes 2 different ways. I was the athlete when I was younger, super athlete. And I kept trying to do stuff that I couldn't do anymore. And it was very discouraging.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm an athlete. I should be able to do these things and I can't do them. Or you could have been the person who was maybe a little overweight when you were younger. And you look back and you think, I'm still the fat kid. You still have those feelings there. But we're looking in the rearview mirror. And what we're not doing is paying attention that we're sitting in this driver's seat right here.
Yes.
Right now. This is what we got. This is who we are. This is all. And then the forward is out the windshield. It's not back there.
Yes.
Okay. So the superpower for a windshield person is to actually just be present in the present.
That's one of my favorite things.
I'm right here. This
about
is what I can do.
mindfulness.
This is what I can do. I had one client, and when she first hired me, we were talking. She says, I get winded walking to my car. And I'm like, okay. I said, so here's your workout for tomorrow. Because she hated workout too. So if I said, here's your workout, that kind of turned her off. I said, here's what you're going to do tomorrow. When you walk to your car, I want you to do 1 lap around the car. And then you can go to work. So I asked her the first night afterwards, I said, how was it? She said, it was hard. It was really hard. I said, but you did it. And she said, yeah, I did it. I said, okay, do it again tomorrow. She did it again the next day. About 2 or 3 days in, I asked her and she said, it's getting easier. I'm like, okay, now you do 2 laps. Within a few weeks, she was able to walk around the neighborhood for 15 to 20 minutes with no problem.
Beautiful.
Okay, so the point was we had to get her where she was and get her looking forward and not focused on the past.
Yes.
Okay, so that's your superpower, is just know where you are and move forward. Okay, don't be looking in the mirror that you're not. You can be closer to that person. If you're super fit, you can get fit, but you're not that person anymore. You're not that fat person. You're not that fit person. Right now, the only thing you have going for you is where you're at and where you're going, and that's out the windshield. So that's a windshield person. The next one is, and I dealt with this too, was a tires person. Now, a tires person needs traction. If you live in a cold climate, you ever driven in a cold place and there's ice,
Oh, yeah.
you're going up an icy hill. Once you have traction, you don't slow down, you don't speed up. You just keep going. But you need that traction, because if you lose the traction, you're sliding down the hill and probably into the ditch. Okay, so a tires person needs traction. So they're the ones that do really well with the gamification stuff. Fill the circles on the watch, mark the calendar, fill out your journal. Just seeing that consistency. I remember driving one time in Colorado, and it's this flat, straight road forever.
That's where I'm from.
Okay, but it's straight road, just forever. And you look at the mountains, and they're there, and they're still there. You drive 15 minutes, and it's the same mountain. It's the same. You don't feel like you're moving at all. I'm driving 75, 85 miles per hour, and I feel like I'm standing still. Until I look by and I see the mile marker sign go by with a number on it. And then I see the next one go by with the number on it. And then that gives me the comfort to know that I'm moving forward, not sitting still. So a tires person, to have a superpower, is just to have a way of tracking. Okay. So one of my favorites, I had a client, and her name was Anne. And Anne, she had some self-love issues. So we're working through some self-love issues with her, trying to get her to recognize that every time she does these things for herself, it's an act of self-love. And she needs this tires thing. I'm like, okay, I want you to get a paper calendar. And every day when you do your walk, because she wanted to do a 30-minute walk every day, I said, every day you do your walk, I want you to mark your calendar. Anne, like I said, I love Anne, because she took it one step further. She bought these little heart stickers. So every day on her calendar, she was putting a heart sticker.
I love it.
And she was seeing the traction as she gave herself that act of self-love for going for a 30-minute walk every morning.
Yes.
Building a habit.
That's how I got through my internship, by the way. I would come home and I had a paper calendar, because my internship was hard. It was not an easy thing. And I would put a big red X in the calendar. And then when I was done with the month, I would take a picture of that. And I would do that with every successive month until I had 12. And it felt like I was giving myself a million presents when I saw that. I was like, wow, I totally did that. I love that tactic. I love the countdown.
Now, I wouldn't do a red X, only because, again, I'm not totally a visual person, but I know that visual cues can turn people. Make it a green W. Make it a heart. Make it something positive. Every day you're doing this positive thing for yourself. So make it something that feels good when you see it. And then you feel it. But what if
it's a red X?
Well,
it made me
X
feel
gets
good.
You there, if it gets you there,
I was like, I am done.
Done, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're a little bit more combative and battle tested and ready. For some people, I think a green W,
No, I love that.
A heart shape, anything like that. Anything that
smiley
that
faces,
that visual, smiley face, something that makes you know that you did something good. So you're telling your inner body, I feel good about this. I've got a smile on my face.
That's actually really important for behavioral change. It's the positive reinforcement aspect of it. And I think I love what you're talking about, because this is kind of the basis of tiny behaviors, is that you pick something that you want to do as a new behavior. You make it a short in duration, as you can complete it every day. If you add on, great. But if you only do that, then that's your goal. And after you finish that, you celebrate somehow. So you can have the little sticker, you can give yourself a hug, make yourself a latte, whatever it is that's rewarding. And that is what keeps behaviors persisting.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways I could go on that one, but I think the core of it is, and I have the last one. So I don't want to talk about that last one because now this will resonate with a lot of folks that heard my story as we kind of talked through this. Is the last one is the Atlas. Now the Atlas is not the Greek god holding the planet or anything like that.
Okay.
This is the Atlas that we used to have when we were younger. There were maps, books of maps we would have in the car. And I tell this story and everybody's like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. Our parents would get a red felt marker and mark the direction of where we were going to go on this path. Okay. I now know a strategy for why you do it is so when they start to say, are we there yet? You hand them the map and say, look, we're there. And now they know because they're the one, we're the kids marking the going through the map. Like, okay, we did this, we're there. But anyway, an Atlas wants a destination. They want a goal. They want something that they can accomplish that's big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, they may need to still break it into smaller bits and pieces, and that's fine. We're going to turn here, get this part of I-30, and then we're going to turn here, and then we'll be on this highway. So they might need a little bit of that, but they want that big thing. What's the thing? Okay. And so an Atlas, and that's kind of where I am right now from a mindset. I occasionally find myself back at tires when I'm trying to make a behavior change. I'm like, okay, got to get the traction first, then set the big goal. But I'm an Atlas right now. So I know that if I don't have something in front of me, I kind of feel like I'm drifting. It just doesn't feel like I'm doing what I need to do. So I want to have that big goal. So that's why the Tough Mudder or the Spartan or anything else that I've done is always kind of, okay, what's the big thing? What's get like goose me and get me going? There's a big thing. When you talk about the goals, though, you said something I think that was really important. When I work with goals on my clients, there's two things that I go through the goals that I think are really important. And the first one is we often set goals like, I want to lose 5 pounds. Okay, do it. It's not an action, it's an outcome.
Right.
You could want to lose the weight, but it's not within your control directly. What is in your control is eating 5 servings of vegetables per day, drinking enough water,
getting sleep,
going for your walks. Those are actionable things. So when I teach goals, I use the SMART technique, but I add an A, and the A is for actionable. It's not just what you want. It's not an outcome. You'll get the outcomes if you give your body what it needs.
Right.
So the actions give your body what it needs. It will reward you eventually with the outcomes.
Yes.
The other thing that I do is I have them confidence test the goal. And I usually do this from a scale of 1 to 7, but you can do anything you want. And I just tell them, if this goal, if you can't give it a 7, it's too hard. Break it down. Okay. Break it down to something you can do. So
yes.
I talked about Anne saying 30 minutes. The only reason that was an appropriate goal for Anne was that she knew she could do that pretty easily. She could give herself a confidence of 7 that she could walk 7 for 30 minutes, 7 days a week. She knew she could do it. If Anne didn't feel confident, like the other client that could barely make it to her car, it was to the car and 1 lap around. When you get to 7 of 7, that's a good goal. And then after you do it, you can increase it a little bit, but you still want to have the confidence. So many people talk about stretch goals, and I think stretch goals are great in business.
What are those?
It's just basically where you're doing a goal that scares you. It's a little hard. And those would be great in business because in business, you're like, I want to grow the business. And so we're going to do this for this amount of time. That all makes sense because failure there is just you don't hit your revenue number.
Right.
But when we're talking about our health and fitness, failure can be quite dire. Right? So we want to make sure we're setting goals that we can reasonably do. We don't want to set ourselves up where we're just discouraged.
Of course. It's like any New Year's resolution.
Yeah. I tried to walk 30 minutes and I could only do 15. So I may as well quit.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so make it something you can do, and then you up it, and then you do that, and then you up it. And those little micro improvements over time there's a substantial compounding. And so that's what you want to look at, is if I can get that little bit of compounding over time, it's going to make the world of difference in who I am and what my body's able to do and how I feel and my energy level. And that's just going to compound to a point of I'm able to make all the changes necessary to be as healthy and fit as I can be.
I love it. Tell me about self-compassion. How is self-compassion integral to staying motivated?
Well, you already know how I kind of self-identified early in my journey. And again, I'm so serious about that. If you literally look that up, .org, it points to my website. I bought the domain. That's how deeply ingrained this was in my head.
Dear Lord.
I literally bought the domain, fatbastard.org. Again, that's where I was in my head. That's who I was, and that's how I talk to myself. Okay, just like that. And he's not a nice guy, I can just tell you. Okay, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, the voice, the disappointment. And a lot of that is not you. It could be childhood situations. It could be other traumas. It could be a lot of other things that aren't you. Yes. I'm not equipped to do counseling and then those types of things. So I'm not even going to pretend to be able to help you solve that. But what I do know is that you can recognize it pretty easily because there's some keywords that we use. Okay. If you use the word always or never, that's probably the wrong person to be talking to.
Yes.
Okay. If you say something and as you're saying it, you realize I would never say this to another human being, especially not someone I love, you're probably saying something you shouldn't say.
Yes.
Okay. So being able to recognize when you're doing it is kind of the first step, because this is a habit. It's a habit we've ingrained deep. And so to change a habit or change a bad behavior, you have to recognize the behavior first.
Totally.
Okay. Now, with any behavior that you don't want, you have to take 3 steps to solve it. Okay. The first step is to forgive yourself. Okay. A lot of people skip that. They're like, okay, I just got to solve the problem. But the problem is if we don't take the time to forgive ourselves, that never goes away. It's just going to come back.
And I would add forgiving others too, because a lot of times we hold ourselves back based on what people have done to us.
Yeah.
So letting that go and learning how to forgive that act can also free us.
Yeah. And so we forgive ourselves. It's like, okay, yes, you had half a dozen donuts. Okay. Didn't want to do that. Okay. First thing, forgive yourself. You're a human being. You're not perfect. The only one I've ever heard of isn't quite here yet. He was here a long, long time ago. I never got to personally meet him, but that's the only one I've ever heard of. Okay. So there's no perfect person on this planet.
No.
Okay. And you're not either. So forgive yourself. Now, the second step is to think through what happened, because there was a trigger, there was an action, and then there was a reward. Okay. It might not feel like much of a reward, the remorse and the anger and the things you're feeling because you did it, the half a dozen donuts, but you did it. Why did you do it? Okay. Well, they were in the break room. Or second, I drove this way and Krispy Kreme does this wonderful way of just fluffing out the smell out into the street. So I pull up to the stop and then I can smell them and I see the hot donut sign and all the triggers that they've set up to catch me in their net right there. And I'm pulling off into the parking lot or into the drive-through. And so recognizing, okay, did I have to go to work that way?
Right.
Okay. I had to stop because the light turned red, but did I have to go to work that way? Okay. No, I did not have to go to work that way. Had I eaten something before I left the house, would I have been as hungry or feeling the hunger sensations when I smelled that, when I saw the sign. So maybe having a light breakfast before I leave to go on the go, maybe that's what I needed to do, and I didn't do. Mm-hmm. So, basically reverse engineering how this happened. What was the trigger? What could I do to not have that trigger? Work or not be in a place where the trigger was? So what could I do to fix it? And then the third part of this is just then to do it. So if I know, like they had these donuts in Arkansas, they're called spud nuts. They make them out of potato flour. Now, potatoes have a higher glycemic index than sugar. I can't even imagine what the glycemic index of potato flour is. It has to be astronomical. And then the sugar, and then the donuts, they're just freaking delicious. When I would come off the elevator, you could smell them in the break room, and people were like chumming like sharks.
It's a good thing I don't like donuts. I'd be like the last person there. I'd be like, well.
Right, but but they're there. And then now the whole thing is there's now a social interaction that you're supposed to stand in the break room for a few minutes and eat a donut and hang out with everybody. Right. That's the Friday thing. That's the thing. That's why they're there. So you're like, okay, I have to personally solve this problem, because if I go in there, I'm going to have one donut with my coffee. I'm going to finish my coffee. I'm going to grab another donut. And then if there are any in the break room after I come back through for the next coffee, I'll eat one of those. So again, not something I felt I had good control over at the beginning. So what solution can I have? Well, forgive yourself. You're normal. They're delicious. Okay. So the second thing was I've forgiven myself. What can I do? So I would come off the elevator as soon as I smelled them or saw the churning of the water with all the sharks. I would say, okay, I got to go straight past them. Just say, I'm going to drop off my bag, go to my office, grab a pre-prepared bag of nuts that I had in my desk drawer, go to the break room, get my coffee, stand away from them, but be in the break room, having a conversation, eating the nuts, a healthier choice, in my opinion, at the time. And then I would have that coffee and I would go to my office. Now, I had a rule for the rest of the day. I was not to go by that break room again. So the bathroom for our floor was right there. The break room was right there. If I wanted another coffee or I needed to go to the bathroom, I had to go to a different floor. I made that rule. So what that meant was when I had to go, I'd go down the stairs, the opposite direction, go down the stairs, go to the break room, go to the bathroom, whatever I needed to do. I ended up getting more steps in each day, including additional stairs. And so it was like this win-win thing that I developed as a strategy to make it easier to not do the donuts.
Yes. And I think starting with the self-compassion, knowing that whether it's like a physical trigger or whether it's an emotional trigger, especially an emotional trigger, that is a really important time, because like you said before, when you're really paying attention to your body, and you're really discerning how food interacts with your body, you realize after a few bites of a donut that it's like your body tells you that's enough. But if you are very emotional and say donuts have had a comforting quality to you, you're stressed out in that day, you're going to go and you're going to compensate in that way, but then you're going to feel bad after. So being self-compassionate and knowing I am emotional today, or I was in this physical vicinity and went and had this and I didn't even really want it. Giving yourself that self-compassion is going to be everything to then redirect yourself to go somewhere else. Now, I want to pivot really quick, and I want you to tell me, what is the most unexpected lesson you learned about motivation when building your 40 Plus Fitness community?
Well, I think the core is this. It is really, really hard to do this on your own. It can be done, but self-efficacy, which is a form of motivation, is really hard to develop on your own. It's much better and easier to start with accountability.
Yes.
So hiring a coach, joining a spin class or a water aerobics class, joining a cooking class where you're going to learn how to cook healthier foods. Those types of things, you have this accountability It's easy to get. It's not permanent, but it's easy to start. So it's a best way to start.
Yeah.
As you do that, then over here on the self-efficacy, you're working on self-management, like the CEO of your own health. So you're saying, is this what a boss will do? If something goes wrong, the boss will say, okay, what can we do to make this not happen again? And what can we do to make it easier to do what should happen? So you remove friction from the stuff that you want to do. Having a gym membership, a gym close to your house or on your way, so it's easier to do. Okay. Staying in an apartment complex that has a gym that's right there. Buying your own home gym. Those types of things. It can be making sure that your cabinet is full of healthy snacks instead of bad ones. So the friction is, if I decide I want a snack, well, I'm going to have to drive to the store if I want a bad snack. Or I want a snack that I really don't want, but it's not going to serve my body. It's not saying it's good or bad, but it's just saying, if I have Girl Scout cookies in the cupboard and I kind of want that inkling for a snack, am I going to do that or go cut up some vegetables and eat those? Well, I have to take the time to cut up the vegetables. The cookies are right there. So maybe if I had the vegetables already cut up, that reduced the friction of making that better choice. Maybe if the cookies weren't there, I added friction to doing that choice. So 2 actions now, I'm almost always going for the vegetables.
Right. I love this.
And then the other side of it is, when you do these things long enough, you start to develop the habits and the values. And you begin to identify as a different person. So the best way for me to say it's like a runner. So imagine, someone starts walking, then they get good at that. They feel good at it. They add a little jog, and I'm going to jog to the fence post, jog to the stop sign, that kind of thing. So they start adding the jog, and they feel better about it. And then their friend says, hey, you're out here, we're doing stuff. Let's sign up for the 5K. So, charity 5K is coming up. They do the 5K. They love it. They enjoy that. They're like, let's sign up for the next one. Now they're buying the shoes, and the shirts, and the running shorts, and water bottles, all this stuff. And they think of themselves as a runner. Now, in the morning, you wake up and you're like, hit the alarm. I don't want to do this. But when the alarm goes off for a runner, what does the runner do? They get up and run.
Yes.
The thought of not running doesn't ever hit their head. Hitting the snooze is not something they do. If you're someone who decides, okay, I'm going to avoid alcohol because I know that's going to make me healthier, happier, make my relationships better, it's going to make my life better. After a while, when you identify as someone who doesn't drink, you don't even think about ordering a drink when you go. They come up to the table in the restaurant. What would you like to drink? Ice water, please. Club soda, maybe with a little bit of lime, if you want to look like you're having a drink. But you don't sit there and think about, okay, God, I really want to drink, because you've become the person that doesn't do those things, or you become the person that does those things. So starting with accountability gives you kind of the motivation to get going. And then after you're going, building in the self-management and then making those habits and values gives you this undeniable, unstoppable motivation that's more powerful than resolutions. It's more powerful than willpower. And it's what people who talk about, you just need discipline. It's something they did when they were 14, when they walked in the gym the first time. They went through this process of a mentor that was there. Their friends were there. They learned the things, and then they think of themselves as someone who lifts weights. They relate to that. They are that. They built that discipline way back then.
Exactly. So it's just learning how to build the discipline, but also with a community around you. So you have inspiration. It's about figuring out when you need friction, when you don't need friction, and then keeping the eye on the prize.
Yeah,
Allan, you're amazing. And I could sit here and talk to you all day and be inspired and motivated. Your story is amazing. Your journey and that you're continuing to be on is incredible. The amount that you're inspiring others with your podcast, we're just really, really lucky and blessed to have you here today. I could go on forever.
I love your book.
Oh, thank you.
Feelings are mutual. You're doing the thing too. So again, self-respect there and mutual respect.
Well, thank you. And I think we do share so many values on behavior change, on being mindful, on how to reset your mindset. You and I are definitely twin spirits. And so I'm really, really happy to know you and so glad that you've come on my podcast. And I wish we weren't out of time.
Yes.
But we are. So thank you so much. And thank you for tuning into the ANEW Body Insight Podcast. We're looking forward to our next exciting interview and hope you join us next time. Thanks for joining us, Allan.
Thank you.
Wow. Thanks for tuning into the ANEW Body Insight Podcast. Please remember, the content shared on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. You can find us anywhere podcasts are streaming, on YouTube at my.anew.insight and at anew-insight.com under the ANEW Body Insight Podcast tab. Follow us on our socials at my.anew.insight on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more updates. Tune in next time and evolve with us.